On August 6, 1806, the Holy Roman Empire came to an end when its final emperor, Francis II of the Habsburg-Lorraine dynasty, stepped down and released all imperial officials and states from their duties and allegiances. Since medieval times, the empire had been seen by many in Western Europe as the rightful successor to the ancient Roman Empire, largely because its emperors had been crowned as Roman emperors by the Pope. 200 years ago, on August 6, 1825, Bolivia declared independence from Spain. Known in Spanish as Dia de la Patria, this is Bolivia's national day and marks the signing of the Declaration of Independence on that day. Those who are Bolivian, I want to wish you a happy 200th Independence Day. 110 years ago, on August 6, 1915, the Battle of Sari Bair took place in the Gallipoli Peninsula, Ottoman Empire during World War I. At the time of the battle, the Gallipoli campaign had been ongoing for 3 months on two main fronts, Anzac and Helles, since the Allied forces first landed on April 25, 1915. While the Anzac front had reached a tense deadlock, the Allies continued their offensives at Helles, suffering heavy casualties with little progress. In August, British commanders proposed a new strategy to revive the campaign, capturing the Sari Bair Ridge, a key high point overlooking the center of the Gallipoli Peninsula above the Anzac Zone. This major offensive began on August 6 with a new Allied landing at Suvla Bay about 5 miles north of Anzac, coordinated with the Australian and New Zealand forces. The Allies launched an advance into the difficult terrain near the Sari Bair Range, aiming to seize the ridge and connect with the Suvla forces. Meanwhile, at Helles, British and French troops were largely ordered to hold their positions and focus on defense. 80 years ago, on August 6, 1945, the United States became the first, and so far only, country to use atomic weapons in warfare by dropping an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. The explosion initially killed around 80,000 people and injured another 35,000. By the end of the year, the death toll had risen by at least 60,000 more due to radiation exposure. While the bombing helped bring World War II to a close, many historians believe it also triggered the beginning of the Cold War. The United States had started developing atomic weapons in 1940 after learning that Nazi Germany was exploring similar technology. Although Germany surrendered before the United States completed its first successful atomic test in New Mexico in July 1945, the battle with Japan raged on. President Harry S. Truman, fearing heavy American losses in a land invasion, decided to use the bomb to quickly end the conflict. The B-29 bomber Enola Gay released the 5-ton atomic bomb over Hiroshima, unleashing an explosion equal to 15,000 tons of TNT. The blast wiped out 4 square miles of the city and ultimately claimed the lives of 90,000 to 166,000 people. 60 years ago, on August 6, 1965, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson during the height of the Civil Rights Movement on August 6, 1965, and Congress later amended the Act 5 times to expand its protections. Created to uphold the voting rights guaranteed by the 14th and 15th Amendments of the United States Constitution, the Voting Rights Act aimed to protect the Voting Rights Act of racial minorities across the nation, with a particular focus on the southern states. The U.S. Department of Justice regards the act as the most impactful civil rights law ever passed in the country. Similarly, the National Archives and Records Administration noted that the 1965 Act marked the most important legal shift in federal and state relations over voting rights since the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. And on August 6, 1997, Korean Air Flight 801, a Boeing 747-3B5 from Gimpo International Airport, Seoul to Antonio B. Wonpat International Airport, Guam, crashed on Bajia Peak, south of Nimitz Hill in Asan Mina, Guam, while on approach to the destination airport, killing 229 passengers and crew, and 25 passengers survived with serious injuries. It was the deadliest aviation disaster to take place in a United States dependent territory and ranks as the fourth deadliest aviation accident on American soil overall. Terrorism is not included. The National Transportation Safety Board identified the primary causes of the accident as inadequate communication among the flight crew and the captain's poor judgment during the non-precision approach. There were 235 passengers and 19 crew members. The flight was under the command of Captain Park Young-chol, 42, who had close to 9,000 hours of flight time, including 3,192 on the Boeing 747. He had recently received a Flight Safety Award for successfully landing a 747 that had suffered an engine failure at low altitude. Park was initially assigned to a flight to Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, but due to not having received the necessary rest period for that route, he was reassigned to Flight 801 instead. The first officer was Sung Kyung-ho, 40, who had more than 4,000 hours of flying experience, with 1,560 of them on the Boeing 747. And the flight engineer was Nam-suk-hoon, 57, a veteran pilot with more than 13,000 flight hours, 1,573 of which were on the Boeing 747. Shim Ki-ha, 56, a four-term South Korean parliamentarian and former leader of the National Congress for New Politics, traveled with his wife, Kim Jong-suk, and around 20 party members. Shin and his wife were both killed in the crash. Those who are Korean, never forget that air crash. And those who live in Guam, never forget that also. Well, that's all the events I have for today. I just can't believe it's been 80 years since the nuking of Hiroshima. Those who are Japanese, never forget it. If you like what you heard, leave a comment down below and subscribe. This is Stephen Luke, and I'll see you next time for another history update.